Okay, I know. I did say that my next video would be a developer commentary, but thanks to the old mates down at my local tech store, I, in fact, now have a capture card and the most scuffed recording setup. Seriously, every beep that this thing makes sounds like agony. To properly explain the chain of events that lead to me getting the gameplay footage into my editing software, on the PlayStation, of course, because my laptop can't run anything close to it, I had to do the following. Firstly, just put the capture card into my Nintendo Switch and then plug it up to my laptop. You get it to read, to put the audio and video and stuff up. Then I had to use the HDMI cable from my laptop into my TV so that I could continue to play on the TV that I did all the PlayStation games on because I like consistency. From there, I had to install OBS to record my browser because the capture card software refused to play ball with me recording it at anything past 20 FPS. Then I had to run everything through a passover and handbrake, only to finally import it to the PlayStation gallery, which took me 2.5 hours to fully import all 10 games. Sweet gods above. So here we are, 10 more games from RPG Maker MV, but this time we're on the Nintendo Switch. And this version of the engine has some massive limitations. The big one is that it takes about half a fucking decade for the games to download. The first big warning alarm that games would take a while to download was the first game I looked at had a warning that said it'd take about 35 minutes to download, and all the rest followed suit with its times, ranging from 5 to 30 minutes roughly to download. So that was a rough experience. Now, because there's every chance that a few people who primarily use the Switch version tap in for this video because it's their console and their flags, let me explain how this works. I have selected 10 games from RPG Maker MV Player's most downloaded section on the Nintendo Switch. I will then play it for approximately about a half hour or so, it depends on how much footage I can get out of it. After that, I stop, review the game up to the point I played, and then decide if I continue reviewing it or not. So with all that said, and once again, I apologize for this not being a dev commentary, let's get started with our first game. Truly, I spoiled myself with my first game. So in a fun twist of fate, there was a 3-year-old Reddit thread talking about RPG Maker Switch and what games are worth picking up on it. And while the majority were ragging on the engine for being RPG Maker, surprisingly there were 2 games whose developers found the thread and recommended their games. And this was one of them. Now, there are 2 big issues that overlap all games in this engine, and one of them is returning from the PlayStation version. Saving the game takes about half a fucking decade from pushing A to begin saving and actually getting control back. It is worse in the PS version, and I'll come back to the other one later. All things considered though, this was a bloody good game. It has a good story, good sense of combat, and a nice, flowy sense of humour. Special shout out to the one drunk that passes out in a cornfield. Liked that one. It even has respawning overworld enemies, which I like. I like it when they respawn, but it has a special animation to announce that it has respawned so you're not caught off guard when they do. I like it. Special shout out to the cutscenes though. This developer knows their stuff with character writing. My favourite was Glenn. I'm biased for the name Glenn, and I like his amazing mustache. Kingdom of Neandria is a game that I want to give a second look at, especially because this was the game I had the most technical difficulties with because I was still learning how the capture card worked. So this is one I'm definitely going to have a closer look at in Season 3, for absolute sure. This game was amazing, start to finish. This game left me dazed, confused, and with no real sense of direction. Which, normally I can work with that. It's not every day that a game is thrown to me like that, but sandboxes I can work with. But this game just feels sloppy. This is the first game I've looked at that feels unfinished in a bad way. Normally, when a game is unfinished, I'm looking at a demo, or like a couple hours of gameplay, and there's a few minor broken bits here and there. But this has quite a few just outright sloppy editing and eventing work, like
Some things can be triggered preemptively, some things don't fire off at all. Um, Most of the writing lacks grammar and just feels like a run on sentence most of the time, and it doesn't seem to register that I'm asking directions to a place I am standing inside. It also has a metaverse where you can play video game spoofs such as Resident Evil and Pokemon, so I guess if that's your thing, this might be the game for you. Yeah, I honestly don't see myself continuing this any further. It just feels unfinished and rushed. We got the slideshow plays for just a little bit longer, I promise. This game is really solid. I like this one. And this was the other game mentioned in the Reddit thread, and I found it really interesting. The base concept has you jumping from realm to realm in any order you want, recruiting people to help save the 9 realms from the secret bonus 10th realm. And because of my choice, the first party member I got was a child, who, due to circumstances out of her control, the entire town's convinced she's cursed. Like, wow, this kid has it rough. I do like the combat, at least for Iris, as alternating between magica types is important here, as using one type of magic gives you charge for the other, which is wicked and helps minimize your usage of items. So using the earth gives you more charge for your light, and using your light gives you more charge for your earth. It's a nice little Ouroboros loop. I will definitely be giving this game another look in the future. This game had me entertained and enthralled, and I was just very disappointed I couldn't continue any further due to my time restrictions. So, I'm very eager to see how this game continues on in the future, and this should be the last game that you have the slideshow plays for. Yeah, alright, this one was funny. But unfortunately, the fun was cut a little too early due to one unfortunate situation. Nintendo are a bunch of pill clutchers. And this is where the second reoccurring issue rears its head. Nintendo, in all of its wisdom, put some sort of required sensor on the Switch version, which is the most hyper-aggressive sensor I've ever seen, to the point it censors with reckless abandon and breaks the Scunthorpe situation. The situation in which over-aggressive censorships can censor genuine parts of names because they happen to spell out certain words in it. But the other issue that comes with this censorship is that some of the battlers are censored as well. And if you try and start a fight with one of these censored battlers, boop, softlocked. Sorry, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Web Rising makes fun of itself and its premise at every step, and it's really unfortunate that this game just can't be played past the first half hour or so due to Nintendo censorship and meddling. Hopefully the devs can come back and give it a touch up and allow for continued enjoyment, because this damn game is damn good. Fun combat, witty humour, and a good sense of when to dial up its humour and when to tone it back. I would continue it if it weren't for the crippling softlock. This one is a surprisingly good sum of its parts with an unfortunate start off the block. This one opens with an intro that's very similar to the Black Mold Woman's shitty wizard books, but soon takes a life of its own with a combat system that is incredibly interesting for an RPG. It's a position-based, almost tactical style battle system, which, yeah, well done, good system. The game is incredibly open-ended and allows for free-flowing exploration, and the ability to magically clone yourself into a crow, apparently. The game's fun, yes. The combat is enjoyable, especially because it's so different from other RPG Maker games, but I think it's just the lack of a real direction. Like, yeah, it's open-ended to all hell, and you do have a direct ionization, but there's no real core objective other than just go to school, and I've been out of that for a few years now, so I'm not interested in going back. Is it a game I'll continue looking at? Pass? I don't know. I might not. We'll wait and see how things unfold. The second unfortunate victim of Nintendo pill clutching, it is impossible to fish in certain parts of this game. A true modern tragedy. But this game's true strength lies in the ability to rebuild towns in a reconstruction project. Like, oh my god, you can rebuild bushes, trees, flowers, signs, just about anything you please. And the game's side quests are left open to your probing, allowing you to explore as much or as little of the game as you please. It's a really fun adventure that I managed to sink time into without it either feeling like it was over bloated and incredibly full of pointlessness, or nor feeling like I had to move on and continue. It was pretty content with just letting you wander around and exist in the world, which was really good and felt flawless. This game I'll definitely give a closer look in the future. Hopefully that soft lock is fixed with the fishing so that the fish can fear me once more. Because I fuck. This one's a fun segment to record hungover. The protagonist may have amnesia here, yes, but holy fuck, do we have to run at 120 beats a minute with no breaks? God. This game's like, okay, it's mechanically fine, questionable in its execution. We rob a fucking bank at one point, but the game has no narrative consistency. It's a soup. It jumps from point to point with no connecting through line. But it does have bank robbery, and it does have stealing money from children. So, truly, that's the important things in life. Okay, I get the protagonist has amnesia, and there's every chance this game was made by someone under the age of like 17. So I'm not gonna bash it too hard, but like, this needs a more narrative structure. It needs something more to stick to. Because as it stands, this game is just existing, and it doesn't really do anything to try and strengthen itself. The game throws all these different things at you, expecting you to know what they are. And if you don't, you're kind of just left in the dust, which is tragic, and it's unfortunate. There's nothing else really to talk about because there's nothing consistent, nothing solid, and nothing ironclad. This game is a huge pass for me, unfortunately.
Welcome to the stretch of the video that I like to call "These would be so much better, they're just demos, unfortunately." When He Shall Die is a zombie apocalypse game themed around the Walking Dead comics, and it's a really fun dive. It's similar to Telltale's The Walking Dead. It's limited gameplay, you know. You're given an objective, you go press your greasy face against everything until you find the item needed to progress, and then go to the next area to continue again. This demo contains only two areas: the tent and the retirement home. The objective of the tent is to repair a wheelchair, and the objective of the retirement home is to get into a certain resident's room. Done through increasingly complex puzzles and ending after the game really starts to get its momentum going, unfortunately. I really enjoyed both the characters that we got to see. Both Michael and Joe were really fun characters and bounced off each other decently well. The argument they had in the retirement home feels realistic enough that I'm eager to see more of this game as it comes along. When He Shall Die is a really solid demo romp. It makes a point-and-click style gameplay work in the RPG Maker engine, and I'm hopeful more work will be done on this game soon enough. You're taking a break from the demo misery to put this in the middle. Great. You're a cop, go shoot slimes, have fun. That's about all I can really say. The combat is solid, but having a reload command as well to reload pistol to restore MP is really good. But the game itself is questionable in its quality and other aspects, which is a real shame because the concept of a police officer rookie in a new town is interesting. It's not really my cup of tea playing as a police officer, but the poor eventing, first draft dialogue, and weird design choices really drag this one down. I mean, it's probably a perfectly fine game. It's just the visual style of it is kind of turning me away from it. So it's not one that I'm going to continue looking at in the future, unfortunately. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's play as time-traveling emergency services to try and stop the world from going kabang. Unfortunately, this one's only another demo, but it's a really good opening concept that I really enjoyed. The only part of this game, unfortunately at the moment, is the Irish War of 1701, where you time travel to it to stop other time travelers from interfering with the war. Here you play as an FBI agent, I think special forces, a paramedic, and I think private investigator as the main four. And in Ireland, you recruit a Portuguese soldier, which is really interesting to have. And oh damn, they actually speak Portuguese. I don't know how good this translation is because I'm monolingual, but everyone here speaks their native tongue. The Irish speak Gaelic and the Portuguese speak Portuguese. Again, like When He Shall Die, I can't really say much more because unfortunately it is a demo. But I really enjoyed this demo for what it was, and I'm really hopeful that more content gets added so I can give this one another look. For sure. So, all things considered, the Nintendo Switch had a pretty good batting average. I mean, we had three continues for certain, with Kingdom of Neandria, Everglade, and the 10th Realm, a maybe with School of Magics, two demos, and four confusing games that I probably won't be continuing. It's just unfortunate that Nintendo's meddling has hindered the storytelling of a lot of these games and even broken a few of them. Mainly Weeb Rising. Weeb Rising was the one that was mainly broken. So this time, I swear, my next video will be a developer commentary. I really couldn't predict I'd magic up a capture card at this point. So, yeah, sorry about the slideshow plays there for a bit, and if any other footage is a bit weird. I'll get better with this mystical technology. All I had was the instruction manual and one video from a guy in Norway to guide my usage of this capture card originally, and everything else is probably very low tech for the recording line. So, I will get better, I promise you. With that said, I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be. Have a good rest of your day, night, or whatever time it is for you, and bye!